Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Embry. I am the Director of Marketing here at Travel Media Group. I want to first start by thanking everyone for taking the time to join me on our first webinar of 2022, and I am very excited to share this presentation with you all. At the end of this presentation, I will be providing my direct contact information in case you have any follow-up questions with the content that I'm going to be sharing today. You can also use that chat feature located right there in your toolbar to type any sort of questions or feedback. I'll also be asking you along the way to locate that chat bar, so make sure you do. And I'll be responding to the questions personally following the conclusion of the webinar. So also be on the lookout, since today's presentation will feature an interactive poll, and would absolutely love your participation in it. So let's get started with our first webinar 2022 and learn how to digitally renovate our hotel online. And for those on this presentation that have been part of a physical renovation at a property, you know that it can be an extremely long and complicated process. But for the purpose of this presentation, we've really broken it up into 5 major steps. The first is an initial assessment. So what needs to be improved and why does it need to be done? So are your rooms outdated? Does your lobby need a refresh? These are the types of questions that hotel GMs and owners are typically asking in the stage. Once that initial assessment is completed and the renovation area is identified, it's time to start planning and preparing. So how am I going to complete this project? What's going to need to be done in order to accomplish my goal or goals that I've put out there for this project? And after planning and preparing, it's time for the execution and implementation. So the physical act of construction and building. It's once this stage is completed with every last nail and screw in place, a lot of people think this really marks the end of the renovation process, but they fail to recognize 2 more critical steps after the renovation is physically constructed and the project is completed. So that 4th step is to create excitement. Now, this stage was once described to me as buying a brand new expensive sports car and keeping it hidden in the garage for only your visiting friends and family to see. You want to show off that new car, just like that brand new renovation. And you certainly earn the right after all that time and money spent at property. And remember, brand new is only considered new for a finite amount of time. So create excitement. And the 5th and final stage is evaluation. Now, this stage is extremely important because it gives you a blueprint for what went right and wrong the next time you decide to complete a project like this, gauging what went smooth and the hiccups you encountered along the way, giving you the experience and the know-how to hopefully make it easier and more efficient for you and your team in the future. Now, luckily, we are not here to talk about a physical renovation for the property, but instead a digital one. However, in this presentation, we'll use the same steps and process that you would as if you were doing a full-on physical renovation. So let's put our digital hard hats on and get rolling. And as we enter the initial assessment stage of our hotel's digital renovation, one of the first places we have to start looking is our hotel's reputation online. However, since the pandemic, travelers are looking at your hotel's reputation differently than ever before. Hotels that have sat back and relied solely on their overall rating may be losing bookings to local competition and may not even realize it. Reason being, travelers are looking closer and magnifying your hotel's reputation when it comes to their booking decisions. Today's traveler want the whole story, not just part of it. They're going to look at multiple reviews on your hotel's first page of reviews. They've realized that the hotel experience is different now and can vary dramatically from place to place. So if that overall rating doesn't align with the recent reviews that you've been receiving, you run the risk of losing that traveler to another hotel with a more consistent reputation story. Which brings me to my next point, the recency of your reviews. This has been a problem I've been encountering with a ton of hotels that I've talked to recently. This review that you see right here is completely irrelevant to a traveler that's looking to book today. Winning traveler conversions in the midst of Omicron and other future potential variants is going to rest on your ability to build trust and confidence with travelers. So if you are not able to show what your hotel experience is right now today, you lose that opportunity. Recent reviews build trust that what the traveler is reading right now is a true representation of what they can expect when they come to the property. And finally, guests are paying more attention and looking closer than ever at your review responses. Now, I would argue right now, travelers are actually more understanding when it comes to negative feedback and are willing to hear your side of the story than in the past. If you clearly and thoughtfully write a response with customer service at the forefront in a professional tone, it actually could improve your chances of converting future guests. So all four of these factors make for a pretty comprehensive initial assessment of your hotel's reputation today in 2022. So much so that Travel Media Group created a first-of-its-kind metric to score these four factors for your hotel called the First Impression Score. So it takes into account all four of these reputation factors and scores you, giving you an idea of where your team really should be focusing its attention and giving you, more importantly, giving you a real-time gauge of how you're faring in booking battles within your local market. So if there are anyone interested in getting a look at their hotel's first impression score after the webinar, just type the word first into the Q&A chat box, and we'll make sure to give that to you again after this presentation. But it's not just travelers that should be looking closer than ever at reviews. Hotels are now paying more attention to what guests are actually saying in their feedback online. So they're identifying tags like room, service, staff, cleanliness, and determining the positive or negative feelings guests associate with them. So with enough of that data, you really can create an accurate idea of what impression your hotel is giving off to travelers that are searching in real time. Travel Media Group's First Impression Sentiment Score illustrates a crystal clear picture of what travelers see when they read these hotels' reviews online. So for this example, the hotel's recent reviews give the impression to travelers that it is giving absolute excellent service to its guests, but looks like there could be some average sentiment around things like facility and cleanliness. So from there, this hotel could jump into its reviews and identify the issues and correct them before it turns into a bigger problem, have a bigger impact on its overall reputation. So again, this is something that we can provide for you following the webinar. If you're interested, remember, just type the word first into the Q&A chat box. We'll make sure to get that to you or your group of hotels. Now, at this point in the presentation, we've really only assessed the hotel's online reputation. Now, that's a critical piece to your digital health in 2022, but certainly not the whole story. The other part of your digital presence that might need a major renovation is your hotel social strategy. So for our hotel social partners, we use these four major sites to promote and market things like rooms, amenities, events, and local stories. And we're going to talk a little bit more about social strategy goals in the next stage of planning and preparation. So at this point in a physical renovation, it's time to start planning and preparing. So we start drawing up blueprints, help us achieve our goals from the data that we've collected in our initial assessment. So we're going to do something similar with our digital renovation. So with the insights gained from the initial assessment of our hotel's reputation, we should be able to clearly see what our hotel needs to work on from a reputation standpoint. Now, most of the time, these goals are going to fall under four distinct categories. So does your hotel need more reviews, better reviews, more recent reviews, and or a better review response rate? Now, some of these goals obviously go hand in hand, right? More reviews translate to more recent reviews, but it's important to set a SMART goal or goals, depending on your property at this point in the digital renovation process. And the same can be true for our social media goals. Now, these goals typically fall under one of these several categories. More social awareness, so are we trying to expand our reach and breadth of our online audience? More social engagement, increasing the number of likes, comments, and feedback on our hotel social account. better conversion, which we're always looking for, increasing our chances of booking clicks from our hotel social audience, or more social advocacy. So generating positive posts and feedback from our guests on various social platforms. Now, one thing that our hotel social partners at Travel Media Group don't have to worry about is consistent posting. And this is something that I really strongly suggest for every hotel or group of hotels on this call, creating a social content calendar. You can see an example of what ours looks like here. This is the type of posting consistency hotels need in order to have a successful strategy in 2022. So I challenge you, after this webinar, pull up your hotel social profiles, and Google a blank calendar. You could even use Google Calendar. And I want you to start to fill in and note the frequency of your posts compared to what you see here. Most of the time, you're going to be surprised about what you uncover when you actually put it in this format. Okay, so at this point in our hotel's digital renovation, we've assessed and gathered the data we need. We've set SMART goals by planning and preparing, and now it's time for that implementation phase. Now, with a physical renovation, this is when we start hiring, the third-party companies and experts to help us complete our projects and finish the job. And with this pandemic, and now obviously an industry-wide staffing shortage in the hotel industry, that is exactly what a lot of hotels have been doing for their digital needs. So whether it's increasing the quality, quantity, or recency of their reviews online, or making sure that every review is being responded to, we are there to help achieve those goals that you've set in that planning and preparation phase. Now, the same is true with your social media objectives. So increasing awareness, engagement, advocacy, and most importantly, like we talked about, conversion. Now, whether you partner with TMG for your digital renovation or not, the job is not done. It's time to create excitement about the improvements that you've made to your property. And in this example, we see a hotel that's uncovered during their digital renovation process that guests in their reviews felt like the hotel's breakfast was lacking a variety. And the property noticed more and more travelers asking on social media and reaching out to them to see if they had a gluten-free options for their breakfast. Now, with these digital insights, the hotel decided to completely revamp its breakfast offerings and made a major announcement on social media for its launch, making a lot of noise and really expanding its reach. So as we get into the final stage of this digital renovation process, this property was able to see the direct correlation between the breakfast revamp and the influx of positive reviews from guests online. They were even able to dig in and track sentiment data surrounding their breakfast to monitor how guests were truly feeling in real time about the changes and if any further adjustments were needed. And from a social media standpoint, they tracked and analyzed the social content that they shared to create excitement about these changes. And we could see how many impressions, likes, followers gains, and how well our social ad performed if we boosted it with social media ad spend. And it's from this data that we can really make adjustments to our social strategy. So we can start building on those ideas that worked and got a lot of engagement and start tweaking those that maybe didn't. And it's this type of attention and detail that our hotels receive when they partner with us as a digital renovation partner. So just like the experts that you hire to complete a physical renovation on property, Travel Media Group are the professionals in the hotel digital marketing space. And as we turn the calendar to the new year, we are partnering with more and more hotels and hotel groups to conduct some complete makeovers of their online reputation and social strategies to make sure they're the most competitive that they can be in 2022 and capture as much market share. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and launch our poll asking which hotels or group of hotels, I know we have quite a number, would like to learn a little bit more about making TMG your digital renovation partner. So I'll go ahead and launch that poll. Again, we got a lot of people on here, and I always seem to have this question on our webinars. We will be sending out a recording of this, but if you would like, you can also visit our YouTube page, Travel Media Group, and get a recording of this webinar as well. So I'll give everyone another quick second to respond to the poll. And then shortly, I will go ahead and be sharing my contact information in case you have any follow-up questions. And then for those that did type first into the chat box, we will make sure to get you that first impression score as well as your first impression sentiment score as soon as possible. So awesome. Give everyone just a couple more seconds. Excellent. Here is my direct contact information. Again, in case you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And we are going to be introducing a masterclass. We're very excited to do this, our first TMG masterclass for social media. And this is going to be featuring Travel Media Group's Social 2.0. It's very easy to remember the date. It is 2/22/22. So if you're interested in signing up for this, you can visit our website at travelmediagroup.com and register for this masterclass. We're very, very excited to be conducting this for the first time. So I want to thank everyone for taking the opportunity to join me today and hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.